You know, I watch a lot of movies, but there are still some floating around that I haven't gotten to yet. And one of those is Dracula Untold, Universal's first attempt at creating a universal monster movie shared universe. Because at the time, everybody wanted to do what Marvel was doing with the Avengers. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised I haven't gotten to this one yet because it has a special place in my heart. My favorite podcast, The Weekly Planet, has an award every year called The Game Is On, and it comes from Dracula Untold.
Let the games begin.
Given that we've had dozens of Dracula movies, and most are pretty good, but there are a few in there that are pretty bad. And I can't say that my hopes are especially high for Dracula Untold, so with that, let's get into it. The movie opens in 1442, where the Turkish Sultan enslaved 1,000 Transylvanian boys for his army. One of those boys was none other than Vlad the Impaler. Yeah, Dracula Untold decided to combine the historical element of Vlad the Impaler with all of the weird rumors and speculation around him being a vampire, and decided to just smush those two together. We catch up with Vlad in the present day, where him and some of his homies are going to a mountain to investigate after they find a Turkish helmet in the river downstream. They head into a cave where a vampire-looking creature attacks them, but retreats when the sunlight starts to come in. A local church guy tells Vlad and us that the creature is a vampire that was prophesized to lay siege to the land. Just not during the day, and I guess he hasn't really gotten to it because he's just been in this cave for a really long time. All of the guys Vlad brought with him end up dying, and when Vlad gets home, he tells his wife that all he wants is peace. Of course, more Turkish army people show up and ask what happened to all their troops, while also dropping the bombshell that they want another 1,000 boys. It's kind of funny that immediately this one guy tells Vlad that he should just do it. Like, chill, man. I think you can probably discuss a couple alternative ideas first before you just willingly give up 1,000 boys. And I bet this guy doesn't even have a boy, so he probably doesn't even care. The next day, Vlad goes to see the Sultan, who just so happens to be one of the boys that he grew up with fighting for the Turks. But instead of finding the grace he was hoping for, Vlad now has to give 1,000 boys, and one of those has to be his own son. Vlad doesn't obey this and kills all of the Turks during the handoff before he goes on a little vampire hunt. I also gotta say that I like that his logic for going back to the cave is that the vampire creature killed Turks before, so it'll probably kill Turks again, even though it killed two of your guys and also tried to kill Vlad. But, you know.
Not a great plan.
The vampire and Vlad chat about how men fear monsters, and then he gets some tongue action, but not in the way that he probably wanted. Vlad then drinks the vampire blood out of a crushed skull, which grants him some power at a cost. He'll crave human blood, but if he can resist drinking any for 3 days, he'll turn back to normal. But if not, he'll become a full-on vampire.
What now?
Now, you die.
What did he say?
We then get a very superhero discovering their abilities moment as Vlad learns about all his new vampire powers. And I gotta say, it's a little Marvel superhero mixed with Twilight running in the forest. It just doesn't quite do it for me. The Turks start attacking the town, and luckily for Vlad, it's nighttime, so he goes out to 1v1000 them by just football charging through all of the enemy soldiers. This is kinda goofy. It feels a little weird to watch Dracula superhero fight an army of dudes. And at the end, we get a first-person POV as troops are flying all around. I'm starting to see maybe why this franchise didn't take off. He also wins before any of his own guys can even get out to the battlefield. The battlefield that was right in front of their door. Like, what took you guys so long? Were you all pooping? Oh my god, they were all pooping. In order to protect his people a little bit better, Vlad takes all of them up to a monastery in the mountains, while the Sultan prepares 100,000 troops to attack. Also, we get this really weird moment that never feels fully fleshed out, where a weird guy tries to convince Vlad to drink blood because he wants to serve him, and I guess he knows that he made a deal with the vampire. It's either that or fanboys are just everywhere. Vlad also fills his wife in the next morning about his condition, and it's also very nice that it isn't kept a secret in this movie. I kind of hate that trope, and it's really nice that Vlad just opens up and tells his wife. It's one of the very few character-driven moments that actually develop Vlad as more of a person than a vampire throughout this entire movie. Unfortunately, we then get an extremely hard-to-see nighttime battle where I can't tell what the fuck is going on. It's like Alien vs. Predator 2. Someone forgot to tell them to light the fucking scene. Oh, and the next day, everyone finds out he's a monster, so they instantly turn on him and set Vlad on fire. So much for loyalty to the guy who literally saved your life twice. And this is all because his skin was flaking off in the sun, and these people were immediately like, you need to fucking die. It doesn't really matter because he's almost immediately able to get them back on his side after yelling at them for just being idiots, and how he also, saved their life twice.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
So the big final battle kicks off, and Vlad uses the power of bat control to have them dive bomb the soldiers. Then Vlad jumps down below to get in on the fighting, while the Sultan is a sneaky lad and gets the drop on Vlad's wife and his kid. His wife takes a fall and he's unable to save her, so she tells him to drink her blood in order to save their boy. And honestly, Vlad's big plan is kinda awesome. He turns all of his people into vampire minions, and then they just fuck the Turks up. It's kind of hilarious to watch in a lot of ways. Like, some of this fighting is more cartoonish than anything, and that's the kind of shit that I like to see. The final fight between the Sultan and our newly formed full Dracula kicks off on a bed of silver to make it a fair fight. And this fight is also super goofy. Look at this funky close-up on Vlad and his pointy teeth while he gets pelted with silver coins. And then the Sultan says this.
Look how pathetic he is.
No, stop! Please!
He's a vampire who took out all of your guys, and you had to use silver to stop him. Yeah, man, he's really pathetic. In the end, Vlad rams a wooden stake through the Sultan's heart and sucks his blood a little bit to make sure he's good and dead. Then, all his minions turn on him again because they want to kill his son because his son is a human. I swear, these townsfolk are fucking stupid. They cannot make up their mind on who or what they want to be loyal to. So the only option Vlad is faced with is to send his son away with a creepy church guy. Yeah, not sure if that's the kind of guy you want to leave your young boy with. I mean, you guys are kind of Catholic, so just saying. But then Vlad has the clouds move and he kills all of his townsfolk with sunlight anyway. So in the end, he didn't give up 1,000 boys and everyone died. So good job, Dracula? But it's not over, because we cut to modern day and he hits on a lady who looks like his wife, and we get this iconic moment as the two walk away.
Let the games begin.
What games? Have you been watching Dracula waiting for a woman that looks like his wife to pop up? If so, why? Also, who are you? Are you the original vampire? Because, dude, you look completely different. What's your skincare? This is such a weird way to set up a sequel. Like, this makes zero sense, and I really want to know what games. Were you ahead of the curve? Are you talking about Squid Games? We can have Dracula compete in Squid Games? Is that what you were doing? But ultimately, I think my main question is, were there even 1,000 boys to give up in Transylvania? It doesn't look like there was a lot of people living there in the first place, and now it looks like most of them are dead. Or did they not all die? This movie isn't super clear on what that was all about, or if this was all the people in the land or not. But either way, why are they all British? Like, I know Britain was on a colonizing kick in the 1400s, but I looked it up, And I don't see where they took over Transylvania at all in history. So how come everyone in this country just sounds like your stereotypical British dude?
Make my passport expire? No. But it does mean that you are entitled to a beautiful new blue passport.
I really hope it's because Luke Evans and Charles Dance refused to do any other accents. So the creators of this movie were just like, fuck it. Yeah, you're English, I guess. That's fine. It's also really lucky for Vlad that during this entire movie, all of the attacks by the Turks happen at night. If they had just attacked during the daylight, all of this would have gone completely different. And I also think the whole ending doesn't feel like the direction that the movie was heading towards. I'm not saying that turning all the townsfolk into vampires wasn't a super cool way to defeat the army, but moments ago, they tried to burn Vlad alive for being a vampire. And given the fact that this movie takes place over about 3 days, and these people flip-flop their beliefs every other time we see them, it's just kind of not that interesting. Plus, this one guy is just like, we gotta kill your son. He's a human, and we no longer like humans. There are also some shots in this movie that look really good, and then there are some that look really bad. The moment after Vlad kills all the Turks in the handoff towards the beginning of the movie, we get this really cool looking shot. Like, that should be on a poster. That's someone's background on a computer somewhere. But then we get shots like this. Really bad CGI bodies on wooden stakes. And personally, I don't really love Dracula basically being a superhero. Sure, it's kind of cool to see him plow through people like an NFL linebacker, but it's also not really the part of Dracula or vampires that I personally like. I like it when they sparkle in the sun and climb trees really fast. No, not really. But seriously, I think movies like the new Nosferatu are the kind of style that works best for a creature like this. Not to say you couldn't make a different version work, but I mean, how many times has it? On Netflix, there's a show where Dracula ends up getting captured. And in the modern era, in his captivity, he is given an iPad that he then uses to hire a lawyer and be released. Let me just say that again in case you didn't quite understand that. Dracula hires a lawyer off an iPad and gets released from captivity. And that's why I'm tired of these half-assed, poorly written iterations of a character that doesn't need to be a superhero. He doesn't need some noble reason to become a vampire, and he definitely doesn't need a fucking iPad. The Mummy movie with Tom Cruise is another great example of this. Why on earth would you have Tom Cruise kiss a lady to death for your big finale? That's stupid. Sometimes, the more flashy you try to be, the worse it looks. I fully understand why I didn't watch this movie when it came out, and also why I just haven't watched it at all. It's mostly boring and not that compelling to me. There are some good action bits and a couple good-looking shots, and there's also a really funny ending. But that's not enough for me to put Dracula Untold in anything other than just plain garbage. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out my video on the movie Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.